You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, King Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Gossip Girl. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Gossip Girl news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for Gossip Girl.
What's up, Gossip Girl fans? I am Roxy Stryer, along with...
And I am Sarah Stratton.
And in the booth, we have the wonderful, fabulous, marvelous DJ Jesse Janity.
What up?
Who actually watched this show, this episode, is a huge Gossip Girl fan. So we got three of us here tonight talking about how the episode went. And speaking of which, how did this episode go? What do we think? How does it compare? I like to start with that always. Was this a crappy episode? Give it a number, 1 through 10.
1 through 10, I would probably give it like a 7.
Okay.
6 or 7.
Actually, I was gonna. I'm same ballpark, 6 or 7.
6.5?
6.5.
I'm the same way, and I'm actually kind of getting frustrated with the amount of 6.57s that I'm giving. I think next episode I need a 10, and I don't know if I'm going to get it. And I'm looking for a 10 here. I'm looking for at least a solid 8.
We had such a good first
Yeah.
episode.
Well,
Exactly.
The first episode of the season, I would give up to like a 9. 9 or 10 up there. And then it really dropped down to like a 4. And now it's kind of leveling out, so we just need it to hike back up again.
I don't understand why they left California at all. I mean, I think that there was so much positive feedback about it, and everything that I've read, all the blogs and everything, people liked California. People liked them being there. So maybe they'll take that hint and
Move
send
on
them
back there
there
for a little
at
bit.
some point. Not the whole cast. I like the East Coast, West Coast vibe and the contradiction between the two of them.
Maybe. I just feel like now it's until maybe they make Dan's movie or something, it's just going to be weird for them to go back to California.
Yeah,
They have no
that's true.
reason right now.
That's true. Maybe just a visiting episode.
They do have still 2 ties back to California. They have
Charlie.
3 actually.
Yeah.
Charlie, the movie, and then Nate's boss,
Yeah.
because he originally met her in
Diana.
That's true.
Yeah, I was forgetting.
And we still don't really know much about that situation, but we'll get there soon. So let's talk a little bit about one of those ties, which is this book situation with Dan and Serena and what kind of friend Serena has become. A lot of this episode brought up this issue for me, and I wanted to talk about throughout the episode, and we can break it down when we get to each character, but do we think these character arcs are realistic for people? Can people really change this much? I was thinking about Serena. This was the girl who slept with her best friend's boyfriend. This is the girl who was a complete drug addict. This was the girl who was hated in high school, then loved. She's completely changed as a person, but we always see her come back to these manipulative ways. So what kind of person is Serena at her core? Is she the kind of person who would screw over Dan whenever, or was she really in love with him and still thinks he's the love of her life?
Okay, well, I was thinking a little bit about this as well. My thought about it was more of like Serena sometimes just needs to get her butt out of the picture because she's so draining to every situation. So she's never really become this amazing person.
Right.
Like there's a little bit of turnaround. Yes, I mean, she's trying to be more productive, but she's never that person who you want to be.
Okay.
Like she's always stooping down and doing something.
You don't think people envy her? No jealousy at all? Especially remember there was that whole Blair storyline for a couple of years where Blair always was in Serena's shadows.
I mean, maybe I feel that's all like vanity stuff versus like Serena was freaking out over this book and everything because she's portrayed as someone who's selfish and self-serving. But that's exactly what she continues to do. She
Right.
finds out about the book and she's all self-absorbed, can't even pay attention to her friend who's like pregnant and dealing with all these struggles. And then the next episode, or this episode, she's manipulating her friend to get ahead in her work and totally playing him. Like, she's never really doing anything redeeming.
So at her core, not that great of a person.
Really doesn't, no.
Well,
Doesn't seem that way.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think, and I've been thinking about this since last week when you made the comment. She is very plain, very blah. There's nothing really to her. She's just there. I grew up with a lot of girls similar to her.
Similar in what way?
In the way of, like, she just has so much money. She was given so much that she had to kind of create her own morals. So I don't think she's a bad person. I think she's delusional. Like, literally has, like, problems mentally. Not, and it sounds worse than I'm making it, but she just thinks the world is one way, and
She doesn't know any different. Like, this is the
she's learned, and you notice when she does make a mistake, she kind of like sits back on it, and it's
Kinda
almost
like a puppy dog?
you're too old to be making these mistakes. But
Yeah.
I understand you're doing it because you never were taught earlier in
Yeah.
life. So does that make her a bad person? No, I don't blame her for it, but
At the same time, it's not other people's fault. It's not Dan's fault that she wasn't raised right. So he shouldn't have to take the abuse as a friend.
absolutely. No, I totally agree. And these are the lessons she has to learn, but I don't think here we go. I don't think she's doing it with malice.
Right.
You know, I think it's
Okay, I agree with that. I agree that I don't think she's going out there to like hurt people, but I think she is so in her own world that she doesn't do anything that I look up to her for.
no, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So the situation specifically with Dan, basically she claims that she is on the way to having the movie rights so that all these other big producers drop the calls and aren't trying to look for meetings and think that Dan's basically pulling their chain. This is where I'm like, okay, screw you. And regardless of the fact that you haven't learned better, you don't mix friendship and business like that. You are happy for your friend's success, especially when he's going to a bigger producer than your boss. It's not like you are trying to help him out because your boss is the best, you know?
Yeah.
Or did you guys think this was okay for Serena to do?
Oh, no, completely across the line. She was all about herself. She didn't congratulate him from her heart, like, ever.
Yeah.
And he had really big people, and that's what you want for your friends. I understand, like, maybe she really was set on hating the book and just didn't want it in the public, and that was her reason that she didn't want it by some, like, big producer. But nonetheless...
You know what? It's so much easier. It sucks in the entertainment business. It all ties in together, and you're always trying to make connections, and you're always trying to help out your friends, but at the same time, not make them your competition. It'd be so much easier if every single one of your friends just wanted to do a complete different thing with their life. I have one friend who wants to be a lawyer, a doctor, this or that, you know, because there's always alternative motives, and it's hard, you know. It's like Dan doesn't want to think, oh, Serena's asking me to breakfast because she wants to get the rights to my movie.
Yeah, because you can't live like that either.
Right.
Like, that's way worse to go into everything thinking that people are just trying to get something out of you.
It's just hard to know who your real friends are and who they're not. And I do think Serena is Dan's real friend, but she still is a person who would do this. So it's just tricky, for sure.
Well, I mean, more than a friend, though. I mean, this episode, she said or admitted that he was the love of her life.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that line? Do you think it meant that she still is in love with him?
I think, first of all, I think that some people don't really know what that sentence means. The love of your life. Well, first of all, you're young. And second of all, I think that when you loved Nate, you loved Nate just as much. When you loved Dan, you loved Dan just as much. When you...
I mean, she couldn't decide between the two of them.
When you loved that teacher, when you loved that professor, remember the one that you loved him just as much. I think she could have easily said that line to any one of them. So I don't think she really knows what that means. It's not saying I used to love you. I understand that, but you are the love of my life. You get one love of your life. Is that right? Am I false in thinking you get one love of your life?
Singular.
The love of your life. Not I have loved people, whatever. So I think that's a ridiculous statement for her to make because she just doesn't know any better. But I did feel for her in this moment, I will say, because that's sad if that's really what she's thinking. And like, this is the guy I love, and he wrote a book and he portrayed me poorly, and he made Blair, my best friend, the star of the book and the shining person.
Okay, I can understand that part, being hurt by that, the whole jealousy of Blair thing. I am on the same page with you as the love of the life statement. I thought it was really phony and fake, and I was just thinking, well, you couldn't decide between Nate and Dan, so how could one be the love of your life?
Do you guys think that she meant first love?
I mean, I don't know.
I think the words were chosen very carefully.
Eventually she like picked Dan like sometimes, but then she was like, she was all over the place with her love interests.
And then always running away to Europe.
And then always like, but
or
I need
LA.
time by myself. Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do that. Like if someone's really like the love of your life, don't you like do anything to be with them?
And if you're not with them, you realize how much you needed them and then go back. I understand not knowing what you have, but not knowing what you have over and over and over again is a different story. You know, you don't let the love of your life go twice.
Right.
No.
Let alone 10 times. You might let them go once and it's miserable and that sucks and forever you'll probably regret it unless you get them back. But you can't let the love of your life go twice.
Agreed.
It doesn't work like that. Okay, but speaking of one of her loves, is that an appropriate segue to Nate? So Nate and Charlie have this new boss, Elizabeth Hurley, Diana. And Diana knows about Charlie Ivy and I couldn't tell whether she was trying to pin Nate against Charlie at one point or what exactly was going on there.
I didn't feel that way. I just feel like Diana is like obsessed with making her NY Spectator website like the new thing and is completely ruthless and doesn't care who she stomps on or who she manipulates.
Well,
in the
I'm
process.
surprised it took us 5 seasons to get a competitor to Gossip Girl. You know, like Gossip Girl has a complete monopoly on gossip. And that's not the way it works, and I'm surprised that nobody ever has tried to trump that before, whether it be a little college student or whatever. And now we have somebody who's trying to compete and trying to do something similar. And I think that it's a good thing that the show added, but clearly Gossip Girl's always there first, 10 steps ahead of her, so...
And I want them to keep that way.
Yeah.
I want Gossip Girl
definitely.
to totally win out.
Oh my gosh, if Diana trumps
business.
Gossip Girl. But the thing about Gossip Girl is not Gossip Girls. It's singular, and nobody knows who it is. I don't know whether they're trying to keep this a secret because Nate was saying, everybody will know who it is if you post the website now. But you can't have 100 people working for you and have it be a secret who you are.
I don't think she's trying to keep it a secret.
Right, but the point of Gossip Girl is it would never work if anybody knew who Gossip Girl was.
Yes, because everyone would hide things.
So this in reality would never work.
This
having
one's just
a company of
way
Gossip
more
Girl.
enemies.
Yeah, exactly. And if people know that Nate is working for this woman, they're going to be so much more careful about what they say around him. You know?
Yes.
And so let's talk.
And people are being so open around her right now. It's just ridiculous.
Around Diana or Charlie?
Diana.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. At the party.
You'd be surprised. I don't understand why she's so down
young
Charlie
couple.
and Nate's throats, and she seems to get everything she wants by just standing there.
Right.
Bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. And she was so awkwardly standing there. Not Elizabeth Hurley, but Diana. It's just, it was so awkward. It's like, who is this? Clearly, she introduces herself as a reporter. So it's like.
You would think the walls would go up.
Yeah, but instead the walls come down. So what do we think about the scene, though, when Charlie and Nate are breaking into the safe? That Nate actually went through with it, the first part, and actually broke through. After he's been so clear all this time about not wanting to.
It was so stupid. I don't understand so many things on this for this section. I mean, Charlie's opening the safe. It's clearly Serena's family's safe. Like, it's in their house. Like,
And by Serena's family, you mean Charlie's family.
yes, safe.
Not Ivy's family, Charlie's.
Yeah. really obvious. And Nate goes, oh, I can help you open that. There's no questions asked. There's no like, what are we looking for? It's just like, okay. Then he calls Chuck and is like, what's the number to the safe? And Chuck's just like, here you go. Don't you think people would be like, why do you want to open the safe? Like, if someone came up to me and was like, hey, can I have the number of the safe in your family, in this, not my family, in someone else's family's home? Can I have that? You'd be like, why the hell do you want it? And most likely you'd be a lot more protective, not just like, here you go, just some numbers.
Yeah, it was definitely bizarre. And if they got caught, obviously Nate would be able to rat Charlie out because she clearly was the only one who knew the number besides him and went back in. But moving forward to then Charlie giving these files to Diana, and we see Diana pulls out something in Bart's file, which is Bart is Chuck's father, deceased father, and gives the rest of the stuff back to Charlie. And Charlie's like, you're not going to use any of it, right? Why would you give it to her? Why did you think she's not going to use the files if you're going to give it to her? That didn't really make sense. But then Diana says, no, she's not. And we see her put a piece of paper in the bottom of her desk, and we assume that is something extremely confidential that she's actually going to use. But later on in the episode, we see it's a picture of herself.
Much younger.
A much younger version of herself, and she burns the photo.
Yes. It was very strange.
So,
first comment I want to make is the whole giving someone secret information with your intention of them not using it.
And she's being so specific about what she wants, leading me to kind of think, well, we obviously have already thought that she has some tie to the family, but I think she wants revenge for something.
I don't know exactly what she wants, but do you guys remember we had that whole thing with Chuck's mom, not mom, that woman who came back into his life and pretended to be his mom, but then wasn't his mom, and then was his mom, and that whole ordeal?
Oh, vaguely.
That I don't even think ever really got resolved. And this woman, and maybe some sort of tie,
could
because
be his.
I don't know. I'm not saying
If
that.
Nate was sleeping with Chuck's mom.
I'm not saying it's Chuck's mom because I don't believe it is, but some sort of tie to something in that. I don't really know. My wheels were turning because I think if it had a closer tie to Nate, it would have been in one of Nate's parents' files. But it was in Bart's file.
It was weird.
It was bizarre.
I mean,
I don't
it
know
was a
where
nice
we're going
twist.
with
I
this.
thought it was going to be something totally about just Chuck or just about like their side. And the fact that it kind of intertwined her into this mess of like something is good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like,
the
I
word
thought it was
revenge
cool.
is really important here too. I think that's important that you're saying, because that's all Gossip Girl really is about. Why would she come back into the lives and not be completely honest why she's there unless it's about something dirty and revengeful?
Little
So-
off topic. I just want to ask you guys a question, because as I was watching the episode and listening to the title of the theme, obviously Gossip Girl says, "Who am I? You'll never know." Do you
That's one secret I'll never tell.
Do you ever think that in the end of this, Gossip Girl will be revealed?
You know what's so funny? People kind of stopped talking about that for a while, and now when I
feel like they made you forget about it
and
for that reason.
And now people are bringing it up a lot again.
Okay.
And it's because people are bitching about the fact if Gossip Girl tries to, at the end of the season or at the end of when Gossip Girl's over, announce who Gossip Girl is by saying it's everyone around you and Gossip Girl's not a real person, it's a computer or something like that, and they don't give a single name of who it is, people are going to freak out. People are going to freak the hell out. But I don't think I don't think they know. I don't think there could possibly be an answer for who Gossip Girl is. It couldn't be a character. It couldn't be Serena or Blair or Dan or it couldn't be any of them. They've all been burned way too bad. It couldn't be one of their parents. I don't know. I really don't. Like I can't think of somebody it is, and I can't think of a way that they could possibly tell us who it is without us being pissed.
Interesting.
So I don't
As
know.
long as it's not that it's everyone, I'll be fine.
Yeah, it needs to be one person.
So what would you think are the options?
I mean, if it's like the principal of their high school or the principal's daughter or something weird or some random girl who's in the corner, I don't know anything. I really don't care as long as it's not everyone.
You know, sometimes
it
I
could
go
be
back.
like the little wallflower. It could be like the little baby sister. It could be the much older sister. It can be anything. I don't care.
But I don't think any of them are possible. And like sometimes I go back and try to see if there is an actress that we don't notice in the corner,
Right.
you know, and try to see if I could see her in multiple scenes or something. But it's not like that. I don't
I
know.
try to look at it like,
I try not to get
Is it
pissed
like
about it.
I try to be like, it makes the show and accept it.
yeah, well, that too. But in the end of it all, it's like, you do want to know because that's what the whole show is based off of.
Yeah.
Who knows everybody's secrets?
Although
Who's watching everybody?
they could claim the show and the writers and the people could claim that that's one secret they'll never tell.
That is true. Which I think they could easily play that.
Which I would rather them play that than try to play Gossip Girl is everywhere. You know, like everyone.
I agree with
you
that.
know.
Like it's an anonymous Facebook and anyone can just log in and post something.
No. That'd be bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's
no, that'd
like
be
that.
horrible.
I would be like, yeah, F you guys. Like, no, not into that. But no, interesting question though. Okay, so moving on to Chuck, and this was the real person that I wanted to discuss whether a actual person could be this character. So if you guys remember, I think it might have even been the first season when Chuck tried to rape little Jay on top of the building. But really it was Serena, or tried to rape Serena, but really it was little Jay. It was a masquerade party. Or when Chuck was aggressive with Blair and punched his hand through the window the wall last season. Or Chuck, the complete drug addict. But we all think, I think it's unanimous that we think we love Chuck and that we think there is good in Chuck. And if this was a real person, would it be that way? And could a real person really have that arc where they could want to get help and they could want to change and they really could love Blair and they really could love all these things? Or is
And
that
be so destructive?
and be so destructive?
How old is
Yes,
he?
I do think so.
How old is he supposed to be roughly?
I think 21 about.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, because they graduated 2 years ago, so
So absolutely.
21.
I think
Yeah,
someone
I
could
think so.
redeem themselves at that
And I
age.
think someone
Yeah,
can
you
be
think?
really just a mess and still be in love. I don't think that those are.
Yeah, they're not
separate
mutually.
things.
So it's hard because I don't know if you guys have ever had a relationship or been in love with somebody where people keep telling you they're a bad person or they're a drug addict, so you can't be with them, or they have done bad things in their past. They've been in prison. They've jacked car. I don't know, a million things. But if you step back and you look at it like a TV show, literally like this show, is that person a good person and are they changing and can they redeem themselves?
I think it's like that's something that's like hard to say because like if I put myself in the world of Gossip Girl and Blair was my friend and I was seeing all this happen, I would tell Blair to go with Louis.
100%. I would say the same
But
thing.
from the outside, from watching as an audience, part of me wants her to go with Chuck.
I would never,
But-
as watching the whole picture and the whole life and knowing both of them and knowing who's right for each other, I would always tell Blair to go with Chuck. But if I was Blair's friend and I didn't know Chuck's story or his side and didn't have a camera following him around, I would tell Blair to go with Louis. And it's just so interesting to me because it's like whenever people try to give you relationship advice, really, do they know? And really, do you even know?
Well, and that's actually really interesting because have you ever like been in a relationship with somebody and it gets to the point of you almost feel like you're Gossip Girl because you can go to your friends for advice and depending on the situations, your friends, they can look at whoever you're with as a bad person,
Yeah.
but you see it so differently and it's like you can't really ask your friends for advice because they don't really know. They know the situation as much as you've even explained, but they don't know all the pieces.
They hear way more about the fights than they do about the good times. So it's hard, and that's why I think it's almost impossible to get advice from friends about relationships.
Yeah, but I definitely do think that there is redeemable qualities in everybody. The key thing to look for is, are they able to see it for themselves?
Right. And so what do we think about that with Chuck? Do we think that right now he decides at the end of the episode to call the therapist, Dr. Barnes, Dr. Eliza Barnes, and say, listen, you're right. I don't just need another notch on my belt. I need help. And I feel like we've heard him say this before. But
Okay.
But he did seem serious about it this time. So what do we think about that?
I think that he does. I think that's honest. I think that he does think that he needs help. I don't think this is an act to really get with her. I think this is true.
Yeah.
But on the redeemable quality part, I don't think that Chuck thinks he's a good person. I don't think that he thinks he deserves someone like Blair.
Do you think he's a good person?
I think that
If you have to give a yes or no.
if I had to categorize him as a good person or a bad person, I'd probably put him on the bad person side.
Okay. What about you?
I would say actually yes, and it's from looking at the outside. From the outside, yes, because it's the little things that he does, and when he does something so bad, he almost doesn't go there, and he kind of pulls back a little bit. And the fact that he keeps rotating this, he keeps going through this problem in his head. It's like he's trying to figure himself out. I also look at his backstory and see where he came from, and it's just about putting the right pieces together for him. And I definitely do think, I totally agree with you, Sarah. I don't think he thinks he's a good person, but within...
I think he has the capability of being a good person. It's just like the way I look at it is I can't find any person that, even Blair, that I feel like he's been good to.
100%.
And you're judged, I think that you are judged on but
What about by letting her go?
I mean...
You mean he's done good things, but overall?
But overall...
Maybe I just can't see it clearly because I think that he's the frickin' bee's knees, but I don't know what it is that I think he's a good person, but I agree. I don't think he thinks he is.
I think that he has the capability of being a good person. I think that there's like that glimmer. I don't think he's like evil to the core. I just think that what he does, if I had to categorize him as
you
like
are what you
by
do.
Good deeds
You are
versus
what you
bad
do.
dudes, like I'd put him on the bad side. Like he's a bad boy, you know?
Yeah, I totally know. So what about this whole therapy situation, though? Him going there, and do you think that happens in real life to therapists sometimes?
Yes.
Like they
I
just
do.
get shamelessly hit on?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
That would just be the most uncomfortable situation.
I think that like there are people out there who literally like go into places and just like say what they want. Like would do it in a shrink's office, would ask their doctor, would just
Oh, yeah.
like there's so many people out there, like what people will say.
Sarah's face could not look more disgusted
And
right
I
now.
want to ask you this because I actually was walking in and out as that part of the episode happened. Did he hit on her while they were talking?
They
Or
didn't
was
even
it-
get to talking.
They didn't even
He
get
laid
to-
down and she said, what do you feel like is missing in your life? And he was like, well, I've had sex on a lot of surfaces, but not on a therapist couch, so that could be something new. And she was like, okay, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
And I think that it happens. I don't think it's unheard of.
I would definitely think after the conversation, because I think that there are some people who go see therapists because they need someone to talk to. And so if they weren't in the right state of mind, to have that person open up and...
Yeah, but to go in with the intentions
with
of
the intent. That is a male whore right there.
Yeah,
And-
seriously. Some serious issues there. Okay, though, but we didn't see that much of Chuck this episode. Really, that was just about it. At least he's feeling again. At least he's feeling something, which I like. Moving on to Blair and Prince Louis and the bitch Beatrice and the moms and the whole situation. So, okay, what do we think about this contract and whether Blair is in the right or in the wrong? It kind of reminds me of like a whole prenup deal. Do you sign it because the time you're in love and you don't see yourself ever getting divorced? Or do you not sign it because you know that crap can always hit the fan? This is like with Blair. Do you sign it hoping that that would never happen? Or do you not because you are your own person?
I think it would have been reasonable for her to create a contract within limits. I think
Such as what?
like the child has to be in Monaco half the year. Because if it's going to be a royal of Monaco, it should probably be in Monaco for some amount of time. Like, I don't think the kid should be like, just living
Or
out.
even the child has to spend at least 200 days of the year in Monaco or something.
Or something like that. Like, or the child has to go out to at least some of the royal school and attend a certain amount of royal events, or make presences. Like, that I understand. It like can't just be like they don't want him to just be like a royal living in New York and living that whole lifestyle and never being in Monaco. That I understand. The rules that they gave examples of, like Blair not going to New York for more than like 48 hours, ridiculous. If
I don't
he has
understand.
to leave, if the child has to leave for more than 6 hours, then they shouldn't know the guard. That didn't think so weird, because wouldn't you want to tell the people where the kid was going?
No, but you have to get the permission.
Oh, permission, yeah, different thing. Notification, totally fine. But, so I do think that the contract idea wasn't horrible. All the clauses, everything, ridiculous. Blair should never sign it. You should never sign anything that says that if someone does not like basically how you're raising your kid, they can take them from you.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing that really bothered me about this scene. On Blair's behalf, on the royal mother's behalf, on everybody's behalf, nobody once said, what about the kid? What about the kid wants? Literally, you're signing away on your kid's life before they're even born. This child is going to be born, and at age 16, maybe this kid wants to go on a trip, and they can't because their mom signed something saying that they can't go to New York for 48 hours.
Yeah, and I don't think you can actually do that.
Like, how could you control your kid's life before they're even born, saying where they have to go to school, where they can and cannot travel to, when they need to check in? Like, what happens if your kid becomes an absolute, I mean, I know that they're an heir to the throne, so there are certain limitations, but an absolute mathematical genius, and there's some conference in Chicago and they want to go for, like, whatever it is, like, this is a kid. And Blair never once said, she said, what about me and blah, 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 but she never said, what about my kid? And same with the parents. And nobody was thinking that way. And that's not how parents or grandparents or people with somebody else's best interest at hand should think.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that, never mind. I was just going to say it got taken way overboard. They got way too consumed with the whole idea of, like, who's going to control the child.
Yeah.
More than
Where's Beatrice's slutbag priest?
Who knows? Probably preaching to people about how they should be living their lives well.
Yeah, so she's still scheming.
Yes.
And now kind of is linked up with Elizabeth Hurley.
Yes.
And we don't know what they're
and has now
do.
become the favorite.
Yeah.
But my question was, Prince Louis said, or had the line where he said, you know what? I'm the
royal heir.
Prince. It's not up to you to acknowledge my son. It's up to my son to acknowledge you.
Yeah.
Did you understand what?
I don't know if
what
that's
that meant?
true or not in terms of, I don't know if the mom has to appoint Louis to the throne, if she has any say in that, or if Louis by birth has the throne and she can't do crap about it and his kid will have that too.
Yeah, I was very confused about that.
I don't know how royal families work because I know you guys all think that I am a princess, but not actually. Jess, do you know if the prince has to be appointed?
No, I believe he does need to be appointed, but he gets first
Dibs.
up because he's the male.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Beatrice 2 episodes back was upset about.
Yeah, she's
Because
definitely
she felt like
jealous, and she feels like
he's never wanted it and whatever.
She's all up for it, and now she might have the chance. And meanwhile, Louis is struggling with his own.
I feel so bad for this guy.
Yeah.
Poor Louis.
Why? Because we all want Chuck instead.
Because we all
No,
want Chuck.
because
His family is like a manipulative bunch of women. Blair is just so wishy-washy with what she wants, and this guy like really wants this love.
Is
He's
Louis
so
like kind of a pansy?
No, he's
No.
a nice guy.
No.
I think he's a nice guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't say pansy. I think he believes in something.
And
The
he
only
did
thing I
stand
would
up to
say
his family.
Yeah, but the only thing I would say pansy about is the whole when she called out about Chuck, that the mom called out about Chuck, that situation, he should have, rather than saying I stand by her, he should have, explained something or just made a bigger deal of that, although we don't know what he's doing with that letter.
Yeah.
But
So let's talk about that for a second. One of my friends mentioned to me this week, I saw that she was watching, and I walked at the very end, and the letter came out, and she goes, oh my God, Blair never opened the letter. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, look, the letter's still there. And although they showed us the back of the envelope, did we actually see Blair?
I could have sworn we saw her open it.
I don't think we saw her read any name. I don't think we saw her. Is it possible that she didn't?
I mean, I guess so, but I feel like that wouldn't make...
because it didn't look open.
Didn't look opened, or Louis would have just opened it right there and looked at what the results were instead of calling.
I don't know if that's fully said, so I'm not gonna.
I'm not sure. It's just I wasn't thinking it was an option. Maybe she didn't read the letter. Maybe the letter's closed.
Maybe.
Or maybe not. But so we know Louis finds it, and he calls Dr. Eliza Barnes.
Seems to, and that was weird because why on the earth would he have a therapist in New York City?
And why did she know who he was before he said his name? And is that his therapist, or is she a doctor?
Or is she like an investigator?
I don't know.
It was weird.
It was weird. We're just gonna have to wait. I think we should cut to commercials, and we can come back for. Do we have special segment today with any fashion stuff? No, we're gonna just cut to news and gossip.
The biggest new media platform on the web just got bigger. More bandwidth, smoother streaming, lightning fast download.
Don't get technical with me.
AfterBuzz TV is making the jump to hyperspace. Join the fun at your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Look at the size of that thing.
AfterBuzz TV.
Oh, it very abruptly stops. I was not ready for that. Okay, so we are gonna kick it into news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so what is it like working with Gossip Girl cast? They're much younger than me.
This is to Elizabeth Hurley. Sorry. This is an interview with Elizabeth Hurley, who plays Diana.
All right, she said, they're much younger than me. It's a very fresh take on everything. Leighton Blake and Kaylee, who plays Charlie, are just fabulous girls. And they're at the beginning of working out their looks and their styles, changing hair colors, different makeup, different clothes. It's exactly how it should be because they're in their early 20s.
Yeah.
Reminiscing.
She's a fashion icon and probably is actually maybe a little jealous, but she looks just as good as these girls do, and she
pulls off all the clothes. Like she doesn't wear everything she wears is just like form fitted.
She's a showstopper for sure.
They were actually commenting on her outfits on the blog. They said she has the same dress, just all different colors.
Yeah, oh yeah.
True, but I mean, at least she can rock it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah.
So Gossip Girl star Chase Crawford is set to become an uncle. His newlywed sister, Candace, is expecting a baby with Jessica Simpson's ex-boyfriend, Tony Romo.
What a pretty family.
Yeah.
Can you imagine their parties? Just all of them, the sports, the actors, the beauty queens.
Kind of makes me sick.
I feel like that's when everyone's just like, oh gosh, go away.
I know Sarah would have an outfit for that party.
I would.
Nobody else knows what you're talking about right now. Sarah's obsessed with designing outfits and picking things out and doing
going
whatever.
to parties.
Sarah, show your little sheet of paper. I don't know if anybody can see. She's
tiny.
I have notes on the show. Sarah has doodles of outfits she wants to wear for our costume parties and holiday parties.
Inspires me.
Look at that. See, that TV is inspiring.
Wow.
people.
Brilliant.
So Elizabeth Olsen was lucky enough to lock lips with Chase Crawford in the upcoming dramedy Peace, Love, and Misunderstanding. And according to the 22-year-old actress, he's quite the kisser.
I bet.
He's like the master of it with the Gossip Girl. He's like the master of it with Gossip Girl. I'm sorry.
Probably because they've kissed so many people
Yeah,
on
that's
Gossip
what,
Girl.
that's what it's saying. He's
Yeah.
a master with Gossip Girl.
They make out with each other all the time. Also
Yeah.
recently told E! News, I felt like I was in good hands because I didn't know what the rules are when you kiss someone. The newcomer added, you don't, well, I think it's a good rule that you don't use tongue. Like a true gentleman, Crawford, age 26, didn't take their on-screen kiss to the next level. Chase is a good guy, Olsen explained. He's very southern.
I think the
Am I,
reason
like-
that was kind of hard to read was because she kind of speaks a little weird.
Yeah,
It's like, she's like, well,
Very choppy sentences.
yeah.
Maybe she felt very like uncomfortable.
Yeah,
talking
Because she
about
probably
the
wanted some
kissing.
tongue.
she kind
don't
of went
don't
on
you-
about it.
Don't most people know, like, for the most part, you don't use tongue in TV or film?
That
Isn't
would be-
correct?
that would
Unless
be-
you're like, say you want to.
Can you imagine how awkward that would be if, like, you were like doing an on-screen kiss and somebody just
Slam their tongue in your mouth.
That happened to my friend on stage.
Awkward,
That's
awkward.
And having
He looks like a good kisser though.
I mean,
Okay.
like, unless it calls in the, you know,
Unless
what I mean?
it's a close up
unless
and
it's
a
like
little,
a
like,
pre-arrangement between
Right.
like the actors, I feel like you just don't go there.
I don't know. There's ways to make it look like you are.
Yeah.
So she has already been spotted leaving his Boston apartment
Oh,
twice,
Blake Lively.
and in as many days, and it seems that Blake Lively is becoming pretty inseparable from her new love, Ryan Reynolds, after she was sighted peering out of his trailer yesterday. The 24-year-old Gossip Girl star also gifted the actor with her Maltipoo dog wrapped in an array of colorful balloons.
I can't keep up with her boyfriends and who she's dating, and I feel like she kind of cycles through boys and goes back to them, like somebody else I know. Awkward.
Do you feel that
Really?
she, like, I have
Really?
no interest in her out of Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
I don't really either. Anyway, but one thing I thought was weird about this was it said that she gave him her dog.
Yeah.
And a thing of rose.
Why do you give
bouquet of-
someone your dog? Like, don't you get them their own dog, or you buy a
Right.
dog together? You don't like give them your dog already. Like,
Wait, so
that's
she's
weird.
dating Ryan Reynolds, was dating Chase Crawford. Wasn't she dating Ryan
No,
Gosling?
she was
or
dating Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
She's dating Dan.
Oh, yeah, she was
Dating-
dating Penn Badgley. She dates a lot of people on the show. She
Maybe
Dates
she's
a lot.
that confused in her real life.
Yeah, I it's a weird thing. I don't know. I'm
She's out
confused.
there.
Best of wishes to
She
her.
must be confused because I'm confused in not living that life.
Who knows?
All right, well, that's your news and gossip for the week of October 25th, 2011. I got it all out.
Okay.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so as far as what we were given in scenes from next week, all we really see is that Blair's holding a bridesmaids competition for who is going to be the best bridesmaid.
So excited for next
It looks
week.
freaking hilarious.
And also really weird.
I
and
love
weird.
the Minion
Yeah.
storyline with her.
The minions are
But
great.
I never actually thought she'd put the minions in her wedding.
But kind of they like should be there.
That's who
But they're
Blair
never
is.
there.
But that's who Blair is. That's the Blair we know and love.
I mean, I guess.
I don't know, and
I thought it was just going to be like Serena and Beatrice.
I don't
But I
think.
guess Beatrice wouldn't be in it anymore because of the family collision going on.
I bet she will end up being in it if there is it. If we make it that far,
yeah.
hopefully we won't. What's gonna happen with this letter and the finding of the letter?
I
have
don't
no
even know.
idea.
Yeah, I have no idea where to go.
Okay, this you guys can't answer though. Clear cut answer. Whose kid is it? Is it Chuck's kid or is it Prince Louise?
Louise.
Is that I don't know or I don't want to say?
I'm going to say Chuck.
I'm gonna say Chuck too.
All right.
I'm gonna say Chuck.
Well,
Just to spice up the story.
maybe we should place some bets.
All right, Sarah. Sarah's like, I need to get me a new outfit.
I bet.
Boom.
Oh, this one could be fun.
I think it could be.
I bet. We'll think of it
Yeah,
next
we'll
week. We'll
yeah.
come back,
We'll-
unless we find out next week because things seem to be happening very fast sometimes.
Well,
here.
we'll come up with the bet and for
We'll let her-
next week.
Yep.
All right.
And anything gonna happen with Dan's book and giving it to Serena?
I think the movie thing is gonna be put kind of on hold a little bit.
Yeah.
Serena's boss is a bitch.
Yep. Oh, do you think anything's gonna happen with Serena and Dan love life?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, eventually. I don't know next week or not.
I think they're
that
gonna
if,
try and spice
if
it up
Serena
again.
ever at
I
any
think it's
point
gonna
in
fail.
time, if Serena at any point in time in every single season of Gossip Girl, doesn't matter when, doesn't matter what, turns to Dan and says, I want to be yours, he would drop whatever he's doing for her. So, yeah, I think it'll happen.
But it would be
again.
a nice change for him not to.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening.
I don't either.
But now with his success and kind of
Maybe
being
maybe
his
he's got
own person,
women.
Yeah.
Maybe people will be throwing themselves at him.
What? Because I don't recall anything. What's going on with Charlie's boyfriend in California?
Max, the last thing we heard from him was when Diana had Charlie Ivy's phone, Max sent a text message back after Charlie said, I made a mistake, I'm coming to meet you in Portland. And then Charlie didn't have her phone anymore. Diana looked at it and the text said, Ivy, I got your voice message. Call me back, Max. And that was the last we've heard from him.
Makes no sense. That's so
eventually he'll come back.
unrealistic.
Yeah. And now she has her phone back, so we definitely would know something. Yeah. I think that's about it on our predictions, and that we could wrap up the show. Except Chuck and Therapist. Will they end up being together? Ever?
No.
Will
No.
she end up helping
No.
him?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, the help. No to the together.
And I don't think he was talking about her.
Wait, are Chuck and Blair going to end up together, more importantly?
Are we gonna say this? Are we gonna predict this?
This is
every
what it
week?
ends with every week.
Every week.
I need yes.
Yes, I think. So.
Yes.
Okay, and we can wrap the show. Thank you, everybody.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. XOXO.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.